Gen Z has a massive substance issue, and we need to talk about those addictions today. Growing up as a Gen Z individual, I feel like we all made a very valiant effort to avoid some of the many harmful substances or addictions that plague Gen X or millennials. For instance, me specifically, I remember walking down the street as a child in my youth and smelling the awful, foul, putrid scent of cigarettes in my peripheral. And I always thought to myself, who could be smoking these disgusting cancer sticks? I would never ever make that mistake when I'm older. And I know that's not just me. A lot of people in Gen Z had that exact same thought. That was until it was repackaged, repurposed into the flavor of strawberry, and now y'all sucking on it more than Mia Khalifa sucks on men to relieve their stress and negative energy. Like, the amount of vape fiends I remember in high school is genuinely alarming. Not only are you one underage, you are out here so down bad for flavored air, you look like a crack or meth junkie. I'm not gonna lie to you, bro. Hiding in the Chili's bathroom so I can vape. Hashtag fiend. I swear I knew like 15 different people in high school who did this exact same thing in the school bathrooms, bro. It got so bad that my high school bathroom was now known as the Nick bathroom, all right? The nicotine bathroom. I know this also starts and happens in certain middle schools as well. And I already know some people in the comments are gonna be like, oh, vaping, nicotine is not a drug. Nicotine is a drug, highly addictive. Nicotine is a powerful and highly addictive drug that can prime the brain's reward system. Addiction is characterized by compulsive use, even when it has a negative health consequence. And the same people out here trying to say, oh, it's not a drug and I'm not addicted, are out here acting like this.
Where's your nicotine, dog?
How the fuck did you get in my house, Jake?
Don't have any.
I don't have any. I don't have any.
This was me last night. So accurate. Are you proud of this? Annie the Slayer, are you proud of this behavior?
I'm about to lose my mind in this bitch, bro. Where the fuck is my vape?
This be me. And they swear they're not addicted. Like, you are more addicted than Jamaican men are addicted to obese white ladies. You are more addicted than an Asian person is to trying to get good grades to appease their family, only to never receive the kindness, love, and gratitude or appreciation that they wanted to feel in the first place, which then leads them to succumb to the darkness of an unhealthy relationship with their parents and an unhealthy relationship with themselves. Damn. Hits really close to home, unfortunately. My 18th birthday gift is gonna be a new geek bar. This is what we're giving out on birthdays? There's other things in this world to breathe. There's other things in this world to suck on, pause. It is genuinely getting to a point, bro. I remember seeing videos like this.
Hey, you can't do that. I apologize. I didn't mean to do that. I would never vape again.
I didn't mean to do that. You didn't mean to actively take the geek bar out of your pocket, suck on it like a popsicle, push out the strawberry flavored air into humanity for the rest of the passengers of this plane to inhale.
I didn't mean to do that. I would never vape again.
Okay. Have any of you seen my vape? You know I only use Ripple anyway. Ripple? What's that? It's zero nicotine. It's much better than that shit you have. Well, have you got one I can try? Yeah, sure. There's loads of flavors.
That's how you know this is getting too crazy. We're getting advertisements of vapes that help vapors stop vaping regular vapes instead of just vaping this vape. Guys, what are we doing? On a serious note, I feel like there are so many different statistics I can pull up against vaping and how vaping is horrible for you. And at the same time, some vape fiend is going to tell me, oh, this is actually not as bad as you think, bro. I'm actually doing this so I can avoid the other drugs. Congratulations, my brother. You have been fooled by vaping propaganda. For the longest time, whenever I was watching the news or watching sports, I remember seeing these anti-cigarette campaigns where it's like, oh, smoking kills, don't smoke, secondhand smoke is really bad for you, etc. And at that time, I was realizing, okay, yeah, cigarettes are finally being stigmatized. And then came the invasion of vapes. And here's the genius marketing move, but as soon as cigarettes became stigmatized and advertised as unhealthy, vaping seemed to be the healthy alternative. It's not as bad for you, it's not as toxic, it's not as cancer causing, etc. But you are still frying your lungs, and if you think that you're making a healthier choice, it might enable you to do this even longer and develop an even longer addiction due to the fact that you actually don't even think it's a bad idea. Because let's face it, whenever you confront a chronic vapor, they always hit you with that, well, at least I'm not smoking cigarettes. Now, for some statistics involving Gen Z, in 2022, 2.55 million middle and high school students in the US reported using e-cigarettes in the past 30 days. 14% of high school students and 3% of middle school students. 85% of high school age smokers and 72% of middle school smokers prefer vaping over regular cigarettes or smokeless tobacco. And here's the kicker right here. E-cigarette companies use aggressive advertising from marketing campaigns to target adolescents. Social media has provided a platform for e-cig companies to market their products to the youth. That's why you see things like strawberry, peach, mango, fuzz as a flavor go so viral. All you gotta do is put some fruity ass flavor in front of their faces and they gonna go crazy for it. But can we please just go back to breathing air? Brief intermission. Please subscribe to the channel and like the video. Back to the video. And since we're talking about oxygen and breathing flavored air or breathing regular air, I feel like this is a perfect segue to talk about the next point, which is whippits. Which, if you're not sure what whippits are, start. Nitrous oxide found in small metal canisters, used in refillable whipped cream canisters, used as an inhalant drug to get high. We got hella high off some whippets last night, browdy. Now, the first time I really saw this was that one black kid who was in a restaurant, hit a little breath of the canister and went mega viral. So this right here is what the canisters nitrous oxide look like, and you can actually buy these online, which makes them very easily accessible for the youth. Another form of it right here is like Galaxy gas, and boom, we go over here to Amazon.com and we got watermelon lemonade flavored whipped cream dispenser. Yeah, you can very easily buy these online for the price of currently unavailable vanilla cupcake flavored whipped cream dispenser cartridge, $85 for this. Now, I'm not really sure exactly how this works, given that it's a flavored dispenser tank. Let's actually find out.
Galaxy gas it's nitrous oxide. It's used for whipping cream or other, I think there's other culinary uses for it, but it's just a can of nitrous. Apparently you can't use oxygen or CO2 because it affects the whipping cream, so nitrous is the gas they use. It's the exact same stuff you would find in the dental office, laughing gas. Oxide, if used in the recreational setting, can get the same effects of laughing gas.
So basically, it's a potent greenhouse gas that people use to whip cream because oxygen or carbon dioxide can't properly whip cream to the best of its abilities, and they got to use nitrous oxide. And in turn, people who are using nitrous oxide are using that as a drug to get high. And it's mainly something I've seen among Gen Z. For the last suckable, inhalable, breathable addiction of the day, we gotta talk about Zaza. We gotta talk about that gas, Mary Jane, Mary Joanna, whatever you wanna call her, all right? Because although it's not chemically addictive, it is definitely easy to become very dependent on it. And like always, there's always gonna be that stoner in the comment section talking about some, I'm not addicted, bro, I'm not addicted.
You gotta smoke before we go. You gotta smoke before this. You gotta smoke before you eat. You gotta smoke before you smoke. You always gotta smoke, like, stop! Like, you an addict? Like, are you an addict? Like,
but if it gets to a point where you gotta smoke every single day in order to function properly, if you gotta get high all the time, like, it gets to a point, all right? I feel like if somebody is very dependent on a substance or really anything in this life in general, you're low-key addicted. I don't care if you can't become chemically dependent on it. And I feel like we all know at least one person who succumbs to the bad habit of a weed addiction and are just in denial about that addiction, bro. Now, the next set of topics I want to talk about revolve around the idea of food. Yes, Gen Z has food addictions, all right? Now, whether you're seeing the most craziest, gluttoniest, I don't even know if that's a word, largest, humongous, gargantuan bowl of Chipotle that you ever seen in your life, or you see somebody genuinely starving themselves in hopes of looking more attractive, I guess. No matter which way you slice it, skinny or obese, Gen Z is like having a hard time falling somewhere in between the middle, which is fit. Starting with the fat ass side, the obesity side, I feel like there is a huge overeating trend on places like TikTok. There is always videos like this.
Get into the Chipotle, baby.
Oh my god, baby.
That go insanely viral, which kind of sets a new standard for like mukbangers in general. In order to make a full-time content creator career out of mukbanging like this, you're probably going to be eating a lot, which means you're probably going to get very fat. And so if you're not getting fat, that means you're one, spitting out the food, or two, throwing it up, which is both pretty bad for its own different reasons. Like, you do not have to be a scholarly source or Einstein himself to realize that this is pushing very poor eating habits. I would not be surprised if there's some 15-year-old, 13-year-old girl thinking, oh my gosh, how is this person still skinny after eating all this food? How come I can't get like that? How come my body doesn't look like that? And that's where the comparison parts comes in. Obesity acceptance is already a thing online, which is its own separate problem I've talked about before. Don't get me wrong, body positivity can be a very good thing, but when you're advertising obesity to be some type of like good choice, you lost me, pal. But at the same time, being overly skinny is definitely not the right answer. Throughout 2024, I feel like there was also a very huge Ozempic epidemic. Most recently, we've seen people like Ice Spice lose a lot of weight in a very short amount of time. And I feel like one thing is people will never really want to admit that they're on Ozempic. They're always going to say they're going to the gym, which is exactly what she did. And like, yeah, maybe you did work out. I don't know. Something's a little fishy here. Next up, we have gambling. I want to keep this very nice and short. I feel like sports gambling, especially, and online gambling has really plagued Gen Z. We have all seen the side effects with Gen X or with millennials who get strung on these gambling addictions in casinos. They don't hit on blackjack. They don't hit on slots. And that's the problem with a lot of the things that we talked about in today's video. I feel like society has shuffled the way these addictions are, and they're still plaguing us to this day. For example, okay, with gambling, like sports gambling, as soon as we get these 6-leg parlays and we can bet on NBA games and NFL games, oh, it's amazing. Or with like vaping, oh, you don't want cigarettes? What about a strawberry version of a cigarette that's a little bit better for you? Oh, perfect. And speaking of online things, another thing that's a very, very huge addiction, and it's not a drug, chasing clout. Because you know what they say, clout is hell of a drug, and I feel like Gen Z is the most clout chasing generation of all time. Let's be real here. We are down to do whatever it takes to get views, whether that's selling ourselves on OnlyFans. People will cover themselves in chocolate and say that they're the Easter Bunny. We get the freaky pranks, the 20v1s, the my mom got a BBL, faking disabilities. People will lose their moral principles in exchange for money and fame. And I feel like this is one of the most genuinely new addictions that has came in our lifetime because the internet is still pretty new and social media is still pretty new. And last but not least, corn. Corn rots your brain. There are so many different statistics on corn being horrible for you. It's bad for your love life, physically, you know what I'm saying? You might not be able to get erect, unrealistic expectations of women, etc. Out of everything we talked about, I feel like it's the most easily attainable and easily accessible. Like, I remember when I was younger, being able to just look this stuff up online without any type of regulations. I mean, it still is like that to this day, I'm pretty sure. Like, oh, are you 18 plus on this screen? Click yes. Oh, okay, we believe you. We believe you. We know you're 18. And the people who get addicted to this stuff are often very, very young. Oftentimes, a pipeline will come somewhere from a different social media platform like YouTube, TikTok, and send them down this deep, massive, disgusting pipeline of OF users, etc. And it is a disgusting, sad case. Hopefully Gen Alpha does not fall victim to the same problem, but that was pretty much everything I wanted to cover for today's video. I know there's other substances that I could have talked about. For the people who make the argument that, oh, it's not a substance, it's not a drug, you're not speaking about drugs. People think that what they're doing is better, or it's not as bad as what people were doing before. It's not like you're doing a harsh drug. So this is okay, right? It's bad, but it could be worse mentality is what really causes these problems to be prolonged, in my opinion. Because yes, unhealthy eating habits are not the same thing as using a substance. It's very easy to fall victim to them because we're not paying them nearly enough attention as they needed to be. But that is going to do it for today's video. Let me know if you enjoyed. Let me know what you think down below in the comment section below. Do you think that I was just yapping about some of these things? Do you think that they're not that deep? They're not that dangerous? Please make sure you like, subscribe, join my Discord link in the description, sub to the second channel also in the description. It's Love Hill All. I love you, and I'm out.